so glad Bryan joined us today. Before we started, Bryan, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Bryan Song. I'm a master's in business analytics at UTD. I came from South Korea, where I had my bachelor's in business, and then I worked for several companies. I worked for L'Oreal, Chanel, and then LG. And my work experience was about 5 years, and now I work at Spectrum Reach as a financial analyst, starting from September.
Okay, can you tell us like a little bit about your jobs at Spectrum and what is the most enjoyable part of it?
Spectrum Reach is a company that sells advertisement marketing platforms to business, so it's a B2B business. And as a financial analyst, I manage all their revenue, like their forecast and their projections and their expenses, and weekly reports regarding how they earn money and is there any discrepancies of what they're forecasting and the numbers. So that's what my usual job do, and probably the most enjoyable part is that the people are really fun to get along with. The people are really nice and we get along, so it's a real enjoyable environment.
So what is like you said it's very enjoyable places, like what is exactly the culture of the company and what is so
The culture of the company is really open-minded. They respect what you do as a person and as a job, and they really care about what you do in your personal life, like family. They really understand if you have kids, if you have to leave early because of your kids. They really understand that work and the importance of family. But still they're really professional. They get their job done at the exact time that they need it. So I think that's really a really good factor for our company in Spectrum Reach.
Yeah. So like what are some like challenges you are facing in your workplaces and how do you solve it?
Probably my most challenges is that I'm new, so I'm still trying to learn of where to get the data from, how to communicate, and where to get all the data and how to report, and trying to really match of what my supervisor really wants from me. So probably that's my biggest challenge right now that I'm facing. But I also had the advantage of doing an internship there for about 3 months, so I had a really good education of what the company does and who to go to. So I think that was also a really good advantage, but it's still a challenge of what we should do going forward.
Sure. One more question. So do you think what you do in your work is kind of similar like what we learned from school in your class?
I mean, well, some things you do might be helpful, some things you might not. I think it depends on how much you want to implicate of what you learned in school. But for my job, it's a little bit tricky because we only use Excel. So
you only
use Excel currently. Okay. So right now I don't do any advanced program, but I still use the kind of like regression. I try to use forecasts. I try to use prescriptive analytics of what we learn into my job place. So like the theory part, I think is also very important.
So what is the most important quality you think you have that makes them to choose you as a perfect candidate?
I don't know if I think I just did my homework. I learned about the company before I went to the interview. I learned about the position. I had really good questions about the position, not just any question of what they're just gonna ask. People ask. Also, I think it's really important that you guys really learn, even though you're from China or wherever you guys are from India. It's really important to learn the American culture. I personally really love American football, so it's a conversation starter. Like I always fight. Like it's the Dallas Cowboys. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. They're a real big rivalry, so I get to talk with them, and that's where the discussion's coming. Conversation starts, and American people really love sports.
Yeah.
So if you really love sports, then it's a real good conversation start because they really want to hire not just of your ability skills, but can you get along with other people?
Yeah.
So I think that's also a really important quality, and I like to make jokes, but it's a culture thing. So you like something that's funny in America might not be funny in China. So I think it's really like where that fine line is, and really trying to learn what it is.
Yeah, so speak of people, like what of the qualities of successful people in your company they have? What are some?
I mean, I think it's what I said before. They really get their job done. They do the extra work. Of if someone says do A, they do A plus something else, so it looks really better. But also they really get along with other people. Like people, if you look at the good successful people, people really like them. Like they respect of what their position is, and it's not like I'm your leader. It's not like that. It's like really just outgoing. They joke, they free conversation. So it's really different from Korea or other like especially Asian culture.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and you know what? I heard that for us, people from Asia, Northeast Asia, so like in our company, so the boss, they like the people who do the most of the work. Like you, after you finish your work, you help others, or you do like a lot of works, you know. But here, I heard that you should not do that in American company because everyone's supposed to finish their own work.
Yes. So in America, what's really different is that they don't. It's not a top-down. Well, some might be a top-down, but for most part, it's not like I'm your supervisor. You have to do all the work. It's because it's like actually the opposite. Because I'm the manager, it's my responsibility. So I have to do more work.
Okay.
So it's the mindset is really different. So, but that's where I'm learning.
Yeah, so like what strategies did you use to land this job? Like how did you get this job?
I mean, it's like depends on it's. I think three main parts is really important. First part is doing the job, but doing it better. Like, for example, when my supervisor asked me to just look at the data, is what she said. Just here's a data set, and this is what I want to know. I just want to learn, like, for example, what kind of programs are doing good and bad. What I did was I tried to report it by day part, by age, by network, and but details. But I also did projections. I also did average. I also did a graph, and I also told a story. Yep. It's not just making the report, but actually telling what the story is. So my supervisor was surprised. She was surprised at that time, and then since she think it was interesting, she talked to the sales leader, and the sales leader came in, and I had the opportunity to report to him, and then he said it was interesting, so he got the divisional leader coming in, the leader of Texas office, and I had to report to him. But I mean, but still, I knew what the data was, and the questions that they asked, I had the answers, so it was a really good opportunity. The second part is, I'm keep saying this, but getting along, like getting the conversation started. Like I go to someone's office and say, "Yo, did you see the Dallas Cowboys game yesterday?" And they're like, "Oh man!" And then I mean, that's a conversation starter. So it's like, and they like being with you, and then they're the ones who come to your desk and say, "Yo, did you see that game yesterday?" But it's like a sports or whatever it is. It's a conversation starter. The third part, I think, is being punctual, like getting on time, being on time, but still, it's a professional workplace, but still keeping everything professional, even though you're getting along with people, but still learning that it's still a professional workplace. So I think those are the three main parts.
Punctuality is a really important part because from some culture, if they say we meet at 8, they probably show it at 9 here. But here's people like if we meet at 8, it's better to show up at 7:50, a little bit early. Yeah. So I think that part is students should be aware of. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Great answer.
I have one more question.
Oh, you keep asking. I like the talk. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, anything you guys.
Because I think you are qualified for most of the job in the job market, and so why you didn't choose some other companies and instead you choose the Spectrum?
With your background, you can. You are
you
really
can
competitive in the market.
Well, Spectrum was a company that gave me an opportunity, and when I started as an intern, I really liked the people and I really liked the work that they were doing there. So I mean, and I thought it was a really good starting point for me. So that's why it's a media company, but it's a platform. And also the business is still growing. I believe it will grow. So, which is why I went to Spectrum. And because at the end of the day, for me, I mean, people have different philosophies of their workplace and what they want to do and which company they want to go. But for me, at the end of the day, I would like to really, it's the environment and the people. Because the work, even though it's really, really hard or difficult, at the end of the day, you'll figure it out, you'll know how to do it. And then the other factor will be, but do you like the people that you're working with? Do you like the environment that you're working with? And for me, that was really important as for my previous experience. So, and I really like the people and I really like the environment and culture. So, which is why I didn't have second thoughts. So, which is why I went to my supervisor and said, I want to work here full time. It's really important in the United States. Oh, here's another tip. In Asian cultures, well, I don't know about Asian cultures, but especially in Korea, it's really hard to ask for something to your superior. Like, I want to do this, I want to do this.
Yeah.
But in the United States, they expect you to do that. So, not like fight, but
yeah,
active and say your opinion, and they really expect of what you say. But for me, I went to my supervisor and said, I want a job here. I want a full-time job here. And if you do well, of course, you can't just go on the first day at work and you're intern and say, I want a full job here. You need to prove yourself first.
Yeah.
And I believe I did. And then I went to my supervisor and she said, okay, for me, for my position, for my department, I don't have any positions, but I know for a fact that finance is looking for an analyst. So what she did, she took me to the finance manager and said, he wants a job and I recommend him and he'll do really well. So, and I believe he'll do really, really well. The reason that I can't hire him is because I don't have any positions open. And I don't think there will be one this year. So, but we want to keep him in-house. So I'm hoping he's the right candidate for you. And with the finance manager, now she's my current supervisor, she said, bring your resume at that moment. So and boom, there's your interview. So that's when
there's a company,
Yep.
There's a manager in the company who he's watching for you.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
recommending you.
She recommended me in the company. So
In the company. Or
I
you're
had that
already in the
interview
company.
that day, and I was really lucky too. Like that next week after that interview, the CFO and the senior managers of finance, like for the total company, came to Dallas.
Wow.
So she introduced me to them too. He's interested in finance. He wants to work for you. And I said hi, and we talked, and I asked, but you really need to be smart. You can't just say, oh, I'm on a job.
Yeah.
No. My question was, what are you looking for in your finance department? What is your vision for this finance department?
what
Was
do
my
they
question.
want?
So, and I'm hoping that I'm a candidate for that. And that's what he was looking for. I remember the CFO saying he wants someone who has analytic skills, and he wanted someone that, because he said he can teach finance, but he can't teach analytical skills. So there are some things that he can't teach you in a workplace. So I was lucky, but still I had the opportunity. But it all started because I said I wanted to work here.
Oh, yeah.
So also my manager talked to the HR department. She also talked to the CHO saying that he wants to work here. So at the end of the day, we have 30 interns, 20 interns for the company. Like there were some in New York, California, Dallas. I was the only one who got hired as a full-time. Currently, because there are some people who are still at school, but still, I was the only one who got hired full-time for that internship program. So, I mean, I think the first part is after you go in is to prove yourself first. And then if you really want to work for that company, don't be afraid to ask. Ask about opportunities, ask about, am I a fit for this company, to your supervisor, which is why comes to my third part, which is why networking is really important. Especially in the company, you need to network with other people and ask things like, and so that they can recommend you anytime. Like if you need any recommendations, they can recommend you anytime. So because and it's really good to know a lot of people because they know a lot of people, and it goes on and on and on and on. So it's really important. So I think those three parts, like first is prove yourself when you go into a company. Second is don't be afraid to ask, don't be afraid to talk, and third is network.
You have experience in Chanel and in this industry. So like a lot of us are interested in the companies in the luxury industry. So can you share us one or two stories of your past experience?
Okay, so luxury, it's more than what it seems. So I think there are two parts to it. There's a bright side and a dark side. For me, for my personal. Well, for Chanel, the good side is I really love the brand. I really love it's not because it's expensive or luxury, but the reason why I love that brand is because they're consistent. They're consistent with their strategy. They're consistent with their vision, and every product has a reason that's there. They don't just make, okay, this is a very trendy product and that's what they make. No, they don't research the market, period. That's Chanel. They don't research the market. They think they create the market, so they don't need to research the market. Well, the first product that they don't usually make products for regions, but the first item that they made was CC cream. I know for a fact they made it for China. So it was first, CC cream. It was first made but the CC cream itself was first made from Chanel.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the first, and then other people started following. So the CC cream was the first. CC cream was made in Chanel, but it was only for China at first. But it was a big hit, so that's why they. But the reason is, do you know why they have? No. Do you know why they have beauty products in Chanel?
No.
Do you know why?
Like girls are.
No. It's not that. There's one reason.
Why?
They think it's an interest to the brand. They think Chanel as a world. So, but people can't buy bags or luxury at first. So what they do is they think of it as an entry, a lipstick.
Oh.
So, well, in Korea, and I know for a fact for Chanel, the people if the workers, when you come in, they don't say welcome to, they always say welcome to the world of Chanel. That's their catchphrase.
Yeah.
They don't say welcome to, hello, welcome. No, it's welcome to Chanel, because they think that you're entering the world of Chanel, and they're hoping that first you start as a lipstick, but go to the fashion, and then go to the jewelry and
They are
time watch.
selling you a lifestyle.
Yep.
Like everything.
The world. Yep.
Your
I
world.
just got a new Chanel foundation in Black Friday. It's really nice. It's the most perfect foundation I
Yeah.
ever. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
So, yeah, I know, because Chanel, that's what Chanel does, and that's why I think it's really different from the other luxury. I know some luxury companies may follow that. That's why Chanel is famous for not discounting. I know that they do, but officially there's no outlet for Chanel, and there's no discount for Chanel, and there's always a reason. And yep, they don't need to, and they would rather just take it away rather than. So and all the products that come out of Chanel is always from her life, of Coco Chanel. Yep, everything is from her lifestyle. Like number 5 or the bag, the chain bags, and people who ask me, who do you respect the most of all the people in the world? I always say Chanel, because it's not because of why she's very luxurious or she's a very chic woman, but actually she was very innovative. Do you know why? Do you know the chain bags in Chanel where there's a chain?
Yeah.
Do you know why she made it as a chain? It's not because of style. It's because like leather, it falls down for women, right? It
Yeah.
falls down a lot. So because of that, she made a change so it doesn't fall down for women. So she said, what she said was luxury should be comfortable. So, and she was the first woman who, well, unofficially, she's the first one who wore pants as a woman, because at that time they were all corset and like big hats. But Chanel said no, they're not very beautiful. So she cut the hats, and she was also the first woman who made fragrances with a lot with mixed scents. So yes, so a long time ago, all the fragrances was just one scent. But I know for a fact that Chanel was the first, number 5 was the first fragrance that had a lot of mixed together. So she was very innovative, and that is
But
the reason
also
why.
a practitioner, very practical.
Yep.
Not just
Luxurious, yes. She always said luxury should be comfortable.
Yeah.
So, and also for L'Oreal. L'Oreal is now a very different company. Now Chanel,
it's huge.
so Chanel is very strict. So,
Yeah,
so here's the dark side of Chanel. Chanel Korea or whatever, because since Chanel has that vision, you can't do anything with the brand. You can't make other products with Chanel. You have to follow the strict guidelines for Chanel. So if you're learning as a newcomer, it might be not a good idea. Well, personal for me, because you can't do anything. You just follow the process, follow the guidelines. So if you want to try this, no, that's not Chanel guideline. If you want to do this, that's not Chanel guideline. And I understand why they do that, because they want to keep the brand. They don't want to make the brand cheap. Because I mean, like one strict brand was like, for example, Chanel. If they look at an online site, for example, let's say Nordstrom. Well, in Korea, it might be different from other countries, but for Korea, like for example, if there was like a Nordstrom site, next to Chanel, there can't be another brand's product. All the page has to be only Chanel products. That's how they try to protect their brand. Well, in Korea, and really the France people, they went to Korean sites and looked at it and said, "What's this? Why Chanel product next to, for example, another brand's product?" So like there are really strict guidelines for Chanel, but as a worker, or like if you want to learn something, there's a limitation. And then, but all the famous group of luxury cosmetic brands, that's how they operate. So the number one brand is L'Oreal, and the other big company is Estee Lauder. So Estee Lauder, they have Bobbi Brown, they have MAC, they have Jo Malone, they have Tom Ford.
Really?
Yep, no, this is Estee Lauder.
Estee Lauder.
This is all Estee Lauder. And they have the La Mer, and then they also have Tom Ford Beauty. They have Clinique.
Okay, so
That's all Estee Lauder. And then probably the third one will probably be LVMH, Louis Vuitton, and they have Benefit, Fresh, Dior, Guerlain.
Really?
Yep, and that's all. I think those are the 3 big groups that we say big groups.
Those
Yep.
3 big groups control all the cosmetic
Yep.
industry.
Cosmetic industry, the luxurious brand, and of course now Korea is also a big company that's rising, because what we know is Estee Lauder bought a Korean brand. Dr. Jart is now a Estee Lauder brand now. So this is how they operate.
The luxury industry is so interesting, way more interesting than we thought.
Yes, it's really interesting, but it's also very it's very competitive, right? Because now luxury, I think, well, this is my now personal opinion, like how is the luxury market is going to go, because I just have a feeling that like the traditional brands are going to really grow,
Yeah.
but I think still there's now going to be a limitation of where is it a luxury or is it like for example Prada. I mean, Prada is a really good brand, but now you don't know what their positioning is really now. A lot of people are now thinking Prada, it's a little bit old-fashioned now.
Yeah.
So, and Gucci, I think is doing a really good job there right now, changing their style, like really like fashionable, like really bright, luxurious. So I think that's what they're doing a good job. I think right now there's a phase of Louis Vuitton. I think Louis Vuitton faces a challenge that everyone has a Louis Vuitton bag.
Yeah.
never
Yeah,
saw
so
it.
is that a
Yeah,
luxury?
that's
So
what I
can we say that it's a luxury brand? Because even though expensive, everyone has one. So Louis Vuitton,
I think Louis Vuitton compared to like Chanel, Prada, they are not that expensive. It's
yes,
affordable.
because Louis
Yeah.
Vuitton is a place
Yeah.
where they have really low to really high
Yeah.
range of products. So
Uh-huh.
and then and in between like Dior, Bottega
Armani.
Veneta, Armani. Armani's now, I know for a fact that it's really falling. Their sales are falling. So and there's also, but what's still growing is probably Hermes.
Yeah.
Hermes. Hermes. They're a big brand because they're like family owned, and then also
Well, these two brands, Givenchy and
Fendi
Versace.
Versace. Versace, I think it's not doing really well because because if you see products that are really a lot of discounting, then you know that they're not
It's
doing
not
well.
doing
So
Yeah.
they're not doing. I believe they're not doing well. Givenchy is still a high-end brand, so and they're really fashionable, so I think they still have a shot. But now Fendi,
Fendi is premium.
Fendi is really, I think
It's really
they're trying to grow again, but I don't know. I mean, but you know for a fact that I don't know if you know this, but Fendi, Louis Vuitton, Dior, they're all in the same company. They're all under LVMH, Louis Vuitton, and Bottega Veneta. So for the luxury part, I think there are three groups that we say. So there's Richmond. Richmond has Gucci. I think Cartier. I forgot. But there are three main groups that we say for luxury, and Chanel, Hermes, they're just private brands, but I mean it's still growing, and there's now new luxurious brands like Tom Ford, Tom Brown, like they're growing. So I mean you don't know what's gonna happen. So and it's all designer because Fendi was also a really good brand. You know the F for Fendi, like the F, like FF, like here.
Oh yeah.
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 That was designed by Karl Lagerfeld. He's the main designer of Chanel.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Fendi is a new brand or just like old?
it's an old brand, but Karl Lagerfeld was the main designer for Fendi, but Chanel picked him up.
Oh.
So now he's in Chanel.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So how about that brand? Just like Salvador Ferragamo,
Salvatore Ferragamo.
yeah.
Well, they're also discounting a lot, so.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're famous for their shoes. I give them that, but I mean, still now, I think they're still now, like. There are some brands that don't change their style
Like
at all, like Prada, Ferragamo.
Prada is
So
so
no,
good.
it's now it's getting far.
I like
But
Prada.
there are some brands that they don't change their style. They don't change their like overall style, but still they change the design, like Chanel, Hermes. I mean, they're a little bit different, but still it's the same picture, but because they want to keep their brand. So I think that's probably why. I think those brands are doing good, but those brands are like they can't follow up the trend. And now I think also people are less and less trying to spend their money on clothes, but try to buy, and they're spending their money elsewhere, like electronics, cars, and houses. So I think that's also a
in some other
factor.
new brands like Alexander Wang
Yep.
or like what is that?
Alexander
McQueen.
McQueen?
Yeah, like some new brand.
No, those brands I don't know, but actually if you're gonna be really surprised, they don't. They just spend their brands like on Zara, H&M.
Okay.
Like it's cheap but still stylish. And if you wear it, you don't know if it's a big or not. So probably those brands are more threat than probably those brands. It's just my personal opinion, but that's what I'm understanding. But I think the apparel market it's still growing, but now it's not as big as it once was.
Oh yeah, by the way, like, can you recommend us like some websites where we can find like some culture about each brand? Some places. Where do you get your?
Do you
Oh.
have this all by yourself?
Yeah. Where
Yep, I just bought a book about the history of luxury, and then
I can look.
yeah, because I was interested in luxury, so that's why I wanted to learn like how the brand started and how they because like funny thing for Chanel, like there's a story. It's a famous story. Like, there's a lot. You know Lotte, right? Lotte department store in Myeongdong. It's It's the biggest department store in Korea, and Chanel, like cosmetic store, was like in the middle.
Wow.
But the Lotte, because Lotte also knew that that cosmetic store was the #1 sales for the whole market, for Chanel too. Like Chanel earned the most money in that department store, but their sales were not that good at that time. But still, so Lotte said, could you move to that place? And they wanted to put Sorasu at that place. And Chanel said, Chanel said, we're not going to move at all. And then Lotte said, then get out. And do you know what Chanel did? They left. They left that Lotte store, but do you know what they did also? They left the top 10 Lotte department stores.
What's that?
They left.
Oh,
They did not leave at Myeongdong, but they left the top 10 Lotte department stores. They just said, okay, we're not going to sell.
business.
No, we're not going to sell at Lotte department stores at all.
Whoa.
That's what Chanel did.
They are so proud.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I think like people working in Chanel, they are not do something for money. Like
Yep.
they're building their brand. It's
Yeah,
like
they're building a
team.
brand. So that's what they said. Okay, we're not going to sell you at Lotte at all. So
Yeah, just
yep. And what was surprising is, of course, they lost their sales that year, but next year they grew. They sold more than they actually sold the year before, because people follow the brand.
oh yeah,
And
oh,
they
yeah,
had
that's
that, yeah.
big marketing. Yeah.
Yep. So
I don't care about.
and now
sales.
3 years ago they went back to Lotte Myeongdong, but you know what the condition was? That same place.
Wow.
That same place was
Wow.
their condition, and Lotte said, okay, we'll give you that same place, and
Like,
they came back
yeah.
in. Yep.
It's a really good classic example.
Mm-hmm.
I think you make 2 fans from Chanel today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think you just turn your ass to be a Chanel fan.
Yep.
Do they sell like male products?
They sell male products. They sell two
Too?
necktie, you know, tie,
Oh yeah, tie.
and fragrance. But do you know why they sell fragrance and neckties only for men? There's a reason.
Because girl buy it for.
Yep,
their
it's the
husband.
perfect gift for girls to buy men.
Oh,
So that is why they make only those two products
only
for,
those two.
because Chanel is really it's a brand for female.
Yeah. Like that.
Because Coco Chanel wanted to try to change the fashion industry for women, so that they can move more freely, but be slick. So I mean, also, people are saying that Chanel was the first woman who wore black
Yeah,
and made
yeah.
it fashionable. Because like at that time, only black were the people who, like nuns.
Yeah,
Those were the
yeah.
people who only wore black. But there's some colors for Chanel. So if you go to Chanel, it's only black and white.
Yeah, black and white.
Yeah.
Black and white. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so now I understand. It makes sense.
Yeah, I
the
understand.
price
Why,
Yeah.
why they are
Uh-huh.
doing all of this,
Yep.
and they just not adapt to the market.
So that's what you learn when you first go in Chanel. You learn about the history of Chanel, of how she lived, and why these products came to be, like why these products were made, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, I would just try to like watch some documentary about Coco Chanel. To learn more about that. It's really interesting. As you said, you spend most of your time in Korea, and but like let's say your English is already like very very good. So like how did you learn English after you come here?
I mean, I like to watch a lot of. I mean, I was born here, so I had an advantage. But I like to watch Hollywood movies, and I also like to watch American drama. And I don't like subtitles, so I don't watch it with subtitles. So even though my speaking is not actually up to date, but still my listening, I'm still very confident with my listening skills, because I watch a lot of movies in American drama. So I mean, it's really important, I think, to just keep yourself exposed to those kinds of things when you're here. So
Well, what do you do? Like when you watch the movies, the dramas, there's one sentence that you don't understand. What do you do?
I mean, it like
Go back and.
I mean, then that becomes stress, because that's work. You just go with the flow. If you don't know it, but you still understand. If you just understand the situation, then that's something that
Yeah,
I mean,
you
you can
still
just just think away. If you just try to go it by word or by line, then that becomes stress and that
Yeah,
becomes
that's
work.
Yeah.
But if you just focus on like what there's like the
they're
situation
saying.
and what the
What
outline is,
understand.
yep,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
it will come gradually. I believe it will really come gradually. But if you think of it as a work or study, then you get stressed and then it won't come.
enjoy it.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you don't want to watch anymore.
Yep. Exactly.
So okay, so yeah, let's go back to school. So like, academics and plus the internship job searches can be stressful sometimes. So how do you motivate yourself? How do you keep yourself happy?
I mean, every 2 weeks my paycheck comes in, so that makes me motivated. So, but still, I'm a student. I mean, I'm just joking. I'm a student because and like, master is something that you choose to do, that not that you have to do, which is really different from your bachelor's. So you really want to do well in every aspect because I have the experience of working. I also have the experience of bachelor's. So I think those are kind of the motivations that make me still want to do good because this was my choice.
Yeah.
No one made me go to college. No one made me go to master's. So it's my choice. So that's why I want to do well. And of course, the workplace. Of course, I'm getting paid. So I want to do what I'm getting paid for and do better.
Yeah. So like, yeah, let's say, so like, what's some advices you will give to current UT Dallas students for their to find a job or a school?
Okay. First, to all the international students out there, I know this can be a little bit winky. I mean, it's sensitive, but I would really like you guys to meet other country people and not just spend time. If you're Chinese people, Indian people. I mean, Korean people. That's why for me personally, my goal was not to hang around with Korean people. So like in this school, I only know about 3-4 Korean people total. But I know much more Chinese people. I know much more Indian people. I know much more American people. And I think that's I think that's a really good advantage of studying in the United States is that you can meet other culture, other people, and really learn of what they think, and really try to like prepare yourself. I mean, you're gonna meet a lot of people Chinese. Like if you're Chinese, you're gonna meet a lot of Chinese people when you go back to China. For me, I'm gonna meet a lot of Korean people. I mean, I'm gonna meet Korean people until I die. I mean.
Yeah.
But in America, you don't know when you're going to go back to your country. So, I mean, I'm hoping that you guys can take that advantage and try to learn other cultures and try to, like, blend in and experience all the cultures, which will be much more easier if you go into an American company or other, like, a multicultural company that it will be easier to get used to because I bet you that also there'll be a culture barrier when you first come in, not just your work thing, but also like culture things. So I think it's really, really, really important for you guys to try to like participate in other like multicultural companies. And I mean, just like if there's a class, don't try to sit next to like if you're Korean people, try to sit next to another country people and just say hi and ask them. And like if you talk about like 5 sentences, you know that this guy's right for you or this guy's not right for me. I mean, and then try to move on. I mean, but talk to others. I mean, I think it's really important. I mean, because this is probably our last chance of being students and last chance of meeting like this much people with just like the same purpose but still not competing against each other for something. So I think it's a really good chance for us to, and I hope that everybody, I mean, I think it's really important.
Yeah, I think it's really also good for like locals.
Local students too.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, local students. I mean, if you're not going to go to China, how are you going to learn about China? So, I mean, it's really for me. I learned a lot from. I have a lot of Indian friends, and I mean, it was really convenient. I like we try to get together every now and then. I have Chinese friends. I go out with too, and I mean it's really fun. I mean it's really, even though there's still a language barrier, I mean, but still we have fun. I mean, but still, and we still learn from each other. So I think it's really important.
Know each other's stories.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, let's say like for the new coming students, what are some lessons you will give if your best friends coming from Korea to UT Dallas to study?
Same.
So, well,
Same thing. Okay.
Same thing.
Same thing probably. But second, learn how to drive. I mean, yep. I mean, it's not like the same as your other country. So really learn how,
Yeah.
because the police there and police here are really different. So and then, I'm not kidding. I mean, really learn how to drive, and then, especially if you're coming to Dallas, and I mean, be ready, be open-minded. Don't try to be like really quiet. Try to participate. And even though you don't participate in group projects, if you're in a class, talk to someone and try to make new friends. Just, come with an open heart. I'm not saying just participate in every event, participate in any group. Just come with an open mind, and then, I mean, but still be prepared. I mean, you're not coming here to play, you're coming here to learn, but also probably mostly you're also coming here for a job. So still be prepared of writing your resume. I mean, I think it's really important for you to plan your timeline, like when to graduate, until you graduate, what to do on first semester, what to do on second semester, not just class-wise and not your course-wise, but also your career-wise. Like first semester, I'll just try to fix my resume, and by second semester, I'm just going to go for internships, and third semester, I'm going to go for another internships, or I'm now going to go for apply a job. But since I have a lot of classes left, I'm just going to mostly listen to more classes this semester, so that I can graduate next semester, and I can focus my time on finding a full-time job, because people will always say that it's not going to be easy task just finding a job or finding an internship. It will take a lot of time, it will take a lot of effort, and you have to be really ready for it, especially the interview, not just your resume, but the interview. So because they won't say, okay, so you're an international student, so even though your English is not that good, okay, I'll just say it'll be okay. No, they don't do that. You still have to compete with locals. You need to still compete with Americans. So be prepared.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's say have a plan.
Yeah.
Of what do you do?
Yep.
In
And
these 2
plan
years.
it well.
What made you choose UT Dallas?
Scholarship. I'm being honest. I'm being 100% honest. They said they gave me a scholarship, so, and that was a really big factor, because you can't, it's because I came here with my own money. I didn't ask my parents for money. It was the money that I earned. So, and also, but second is probably because I don't have an IT background, and UT Dallas was one of the few schools that takes students without an IT background. Because if you look at a lot of schools, they really want an IT background student, which makes sense a little bit. But still, UT Dallas was open to non-IT majors, which was also good. And also, third was it was near a big city, so it'll be much more easier for finding jobs, because a lot of companies are placed in Dallas and also in Texas. So those 3 factors were right for me.
Also,
so that's why.
like Texas living expensive is way more lower than California.
Yep, living expenses are in the New York or the East Side anyway. So.
Yeah. So the next question is, how has the MSBA program at UT Dallas prepared for your goal, finding a job here, or maybe?
I mean, they gave me a title. I learned something that I didn't learn from my workplace, or like the theory, the theoretical behind it, and because everyone knows what big data is, but they don't really actually know like how it works on the back end. And so it was really a good opportunity for me to learn of what kind of factors those are, and then I think it will help me more improve my career going forward, of like actually not just doing basic stuff, but also doing another deeper analysis of what I have to do. So I think that will also be a really good opportunity. So I mean, study hard. Of course, you have to study your good work, but I mean, because I mean, there's like if you come to the United States, it's a really good opportunity for you to a lot of stuff, not just study wise, but and not just
There's a lot
job
of
wise,
things you
but
can do.
also
Yeah.
for your life. Travel, yeah. So
networking,
I think that's also important, which I wanted to say is that even though you're here for school and you're here to get a job, and you have to work hard, of course that's all in, but still it's another opportunity for you to like refresh yourself, and see the world.
Yeah.
Experience the culture, travel, and see good
Sports.
things, and really just try to broaden your horizon. I mean, I think that's also a really good factor of when you going career wise, not just study part, but also your inside part of refreshing yourself and looking at good things, and looking at another culture and other things, and just to broaden your horizon, not just looking at a narrow space, but looking at so this is something in the world. Also this exists. So it really, then I believe like in the long run, it will be much more better for you, in career wise. Because people, when they usually go to a career place and they stuck in one job, usually 9 out of 10 they just look at just one way and what they know. But if you just learn of how, like, if you just broaden your horizon, you can look at this way, that way, and then it will be much more better for you.
That's the advantage of studying overseas.
Abroad, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question will be like, with the recent gunshot accidents, do you think Texas, America, is a safe place to study, and do you have any like bad experience while the time you're here?
I mean, getting shot. I mean, no, it was a really sad story, but I mean, it's something that we can't prevent.
Yeah, and
we can't prevent and we can't avoid. So I mean, and I know a lot of people are really afraid, but I'm alive, he's alive, she's alive, and I believe they didn't have any gunshots. So if you're not at the wrong place at the wrong time, then it's really safe. Actually, Texas, I think, is one of the safest places. Especially around campus, I think it's really safe. But I know there are neighborhoods that are not safe, but there's no reason to go there because there's nothing there for us to look at or to see. So, I mean, if you're not at the wrong place at the wrong time, then I know there are some cases that are unfortunate, especially like the Las Vegas shooting part. But if you come to think of it probability-wise, it's really, really rare.
Yeah.
Even though it might be a lot more frequent than other countries like in China or Korea, but still it's really, really rare. So I don't think you need to really worry about it.
Yeah, like
especially in UT Dallas. If you're coming to UT Dallas,
on campus, like I see like police like every 5 minutes. If I walk on the campus, I can see one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
on campus is very safe.
Very safe. Dallas, I think, is also safe.
Yeah. So like let's
no,
finish.
the north south part is not safe. Because one of our professor,
that's another story.
Yeah.
That's another story. Yeah. But there's no reason for us. Like I said, there's no reason for us to go there. Yeah. Like of course downtown at night is also dangerous, but we don't need to go there.
Yeah.
So
it's
if we go there, it's something not right with us.
Yes. So
what do you do there? You do buy some drugs?
Yeah, I know.
No. Yeah. So
I mean,
it's safe.
Yeah, but it's overall it's safe. Let's just say that overall it's safe. I know there are parts that can be fishy, but overall it's safe.
Yeah,
it's a really.
If you go to public events, go to the events which they do security check. For example, we go to NBA games a lot, and every game they do security check.
Yep.
And I think we feel safe. We have nothing to worry about it.
There's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, you go to football game, they check your bags, it's safe.
Yep.
But if you go to public event, just be careful. Yeah.
Be cautious.
Just be cautious. I mean, but still don't be like, I'll be okay no matter what. Don't just do that.
Yeah.
But still always be aware of your surroundings.
And
but other than that, it's really safe.
And don't involve into any fight with people here. They're crazy. So okay, this will now go to you. So this is the last question. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Probably Probably I'm hoping to be a manager for a leadership role, so I can have more responsibility, and probably like a finance manager or an analyst manager. But I still see myself living in the United States. I hope to stay here because of the experience and of the culture, and I'm just because I really enjoy just living here and working here. So,
Like cities?
actually, no, I'm not really focused on cities. Yes, actually, the reason I like Dallas is because I don't live in the actual city. Because suburb, because
Convenient.
yes, it's convenient. So, and I don't have to like ride the subway because I already lived in the city for about 20 years in South Korea. So, I don't really miss the city at all. Actually, I like it quiet here.
And
So,
the weather is good. December, we don't need to wear heavy clothes.
yep.
Yeah.
And we're mostly inside. We're mostly in the car anyway, or in a building.
Yeah, it's
So
so
I mean, it's really good. So, I mean, that's why I think I see myself in 5 years.